Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Are we ready to rock the vote? And we're ready to rock the vote for Harris and all the Democrats up and down the ticket. My name is Beverly Brown. I am County Commissioner for District 4 here in Genesee County, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here. I have a couple of responsibilities, first of all. I want to introduce to you the next speaker, but before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about a conversation I had with one of my constituents this week. And she happens to be an OBGYN here in Genesee County. So I want to talk to the locals here. If you're undecided, if you're independent, and you really haven't voted yet, I want to give you some more information about reproductive health care rights. Because the conversation I had with this OBGYN was that a lot of healthcare workers are super burned out right now. They are burned out because of the misinformation and disinformation that's going out. And there are over 200,000 women live here in Genesee County. She shared with me that OBGYN doctors are retiring and leaving the profession because a lot of them are not being treated kindly. A lot of them are very frustrated. Hospitals have really dwindled down to just a handful of OBGYNs here in this county. So talk about this constituent who has had to cut back on her hours because of the political environment right now. That means that routine health care is going to be diminished simply because of a voting decision. If we don't want that to happen, then we have to make sure we get to the polls and vote for the right person at the national level. So I want to make that personal to each and every female here, as well as to the men that love your sisters, your mothers, your daughters, your nieces. And please make sure you get out the vote and vote, do the right thing, not just for reproductive health care, but for all the other issues that matter to Democrats. The second thing I want to do is introduce a dynamic gentleman who happens to be the mayor of Flint. Please give him a big round of applause for Mayor, come on up, Mayor and his wife, Mayor Sheldon Neely.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. You know, we have some important work to do. You know, I'm glad that you guys are joining us here in the city of Flint downtown. I want to thank all the organizers that's here. It's another blessed day by God. He is smiling on us with the sunshine. I'm Mayor Sheldon Neely of the proud city of Flint, Michigan, and
I'm State Representative. I am the 70th District here in the city of Flint.
you know, one of the things we have to do in Flint, we're going to turn out the vote. We're going to turn it up. You know, I see all my friends here from the Divine Nine. I saw a lot of Alphas here. I think I saw some Sigmas here, and all the rest of the Divine Nine. But we're going to turn it up. We're going to turn it out in the city of Flint. Just less than a quarter mile down the road, we're voting right now here in the city of Flint. We're voting today, we're voting tomorrow, we're voting on Monday, and definitely we're voting on Tuesday, and we're celebrating on Wednesday. Let's hear it for Vice President Kamala Harris. Give it up, come on! You know, one of the things that I'm tasked with the responsibility of sharing with all my friends out here, my neighbors, my family, about why we're voting and why it's so important to vote. Because right now we're voting for something. We're voting for our children, we're voting for our grandchildren, and our grandparents, and our parents are counting on us to show up and turn out. During the days when my grandfather, my great-grandfather was in Mississippi, when they were looking at trying to vote, they had to go through Jim Crow laws, they had to go through poll taxes, literacy tests, and everything in the world. Today we have a very easy opportunity to go engage in the greatest American right that we have, and that's the right to vote. You know, this book here I carry around, and I give this out quite often myself and State Representative Neely. This is the Constitution of the United States of America. If you don't have one, get one. If you don't have one, I'll give you one. But for African Americans in this country, you ought to look at the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of our Constitution. Those are the amendments that emancipated us and made us nationalized citizens. The 19th Amendment, if you're a woman, it's the 19th Amendment suffrage, talking about the opportunity to vote, making it a united opportunity for democracy here in this great country. Today we have an opportunity to vote. Tomorrow we have the opportunity to celebrate the first African American woman in the White House. We have a responsibility, and I'm counting on each and every one of you. Today, for you that's here today, I'm deputizing each and every one of you to go out and get others to vote. But also we have the great knowledge and the great responsibility of understanding what the importance of it is. As Dr. Brown talked about, misinformation goes around and it goes about. There's been a poverty of values in the United States of America. We have to elect somebody that represents our values, strong values for our families, to be able to move us forward as a country, as a powerful country. Today we have some swag here because we got hats saying Flint votes. We want to turn out. Give it up for Flint. You know, my wife and I, state representative and myself, we got this blessed pleasure of introducing the next speaker, a dynamic person, a person that's very, very close to the next president of the United States. So that's the person you might want to know. And so we want to welcome to the stage a great individual, Maya Harris. Come on, PJ.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I am so happy to be back in Flint. I actually was here last month. It was one of my first stops when we kicked off this campaign. And I was here on our Reproductive Freedom bus tour. And we came to Flint because we wanted to have a whole conversation dedicated to talking about Black maternal health as part of reproductive freedom. And as we're having this conversation about protecting our freedoms, highlighting an issue that is so important in terms of when you talk about reproductive freedom, it is certainly about a woman's right to choose about when, where, and how to have her children. But it's also about the right to be able to survive childbirth, the right to be able to have a healthy baby, the right to raise a child with clean air and clean water. And so that was the conversation that we wanted to have, so that we really had the full conversation about what we're talking about when we talk about reproductive freedom and all of the freedoms that are at stake in this election. So I highlight that because that is just one of many defining issues in this election. Now, you all are here because you know the stakes of the election. You, as the kids would say, understand the assignment. So I'm not going to go through every issue that we know is on the ballot this November. But certainly that is one that I wanted to be able to highlight. And I thank you all for being here. And I thank you, and that's really why I'm here, is to thank you. To thank you for showing up, to thank you for showing up for my sister, to thank you for standing up for your country by showing up for her in this election. I have been traveling all over the country, and the thing that has been so exciting, so gratifying, so inspiring is to see how people are showing up everywhere, not only because they understand the stakes of this election and the threats that we face, but showing up with joy and showing up with optimism and showing up with an excitement about the future and what the future holds when we elect Kamala Harris President of the United States. And one of my very memorable moments was the last time I actually was here in Michigan after I came to Flint. I was in Detroit and I met a woman named Shar. Shar's an author. And Shar has lupus, she got cancer. She spoke passionately about health care and how the Affordable Care Act literally saved her life. Shar, so we all boarded this rocket ship on July 21st, right? Where Kamala put herself forward for this immense responsibility. 1 week from July 21st, Shar, in Detroit, cleared out her living room furniture, set up a bunch of folding tables, and has been hosting phone banks with dozens of Black women in Detroit ever since. That's Shar, right? I was in Georgia, in our Atlanta office. I met a man named Barry. Barry was one of the million voters who showed up. Have you all seen the early voting records in Georgia and how they broke records? I was there in Georgia at the moment the 1 millionth early vote was cast in the first week. I met Barry. He was one of those 1 million. He went and did his early vote, and then Barry told me he went home and he said, I have to do something else. I have to do more than just vote. And so when I met Barry, he was showing up to the Atlanta field office to sign up for his very first canvass. Like we're signing up people here today. Yeah, right. Never had been involved in politics ever before. But he not only understood the stakes of the election and knew he needed to do more than just vote, he was so excited about Kamala, he couldn't wait to get out and talk to people about her. I'm going to tell you about one other person who I met, and it was actually on my first stop after the convention for the campaign. It was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I met a woman named Elaine. And I was leaving the campaign office. Elaine was coming in, and I introduced myself, and then I said to Elaine, oh, are you a volunteer? And Elaine said to me, oh no, I'm not a volunteer. She says, I don't get around like I used to. She said, I'm just bringing snacks to the volunteers. And I looked at Elaine and I said, Elaine, you're a volunteer. You are a volunteer. And the thing that I loved about Elaine is that no matter how big or small you may think something is, there is something for everyone to do in this campaign. There is something for everyone to do in this election, no matter how big or small you may think it is. And all of it is going to make a difference. All of it is going to make a difference. And so this is what we're seeing all across the country. People who are showing up. There is no one who is showing up more for this election than my sister, Kamala. She is traveling the country. She is multiple cities in a day, multiple states in a day. She is killing herself. And mind you, she is out there killing it, isn't she? While she's out there killing herself, she is doing her job. She's doing two jobs. Because while she's out there fighting for all of us and fighting to win this election, she's actually still Vice President of the United States doing important things with our President Joe Biden in the Oval Office. So she is doing her job. It is on us now to do our job. It's on us to do our job to get this over the finish line. Because she can't do this by herself. And I know you're here because you know that we need your help to actually get this over the finish line. But the thing is that what you're signing up to do today, I can tell you from all of what I've seen across the country, I've traveled to every single battleground state, the people-to-people conversations that you all are signing up to have today, those are so important and they will make the difference. And they have made the difference in every single one of Kamala's races. And I'm talking about going back to her very first race in 2003 when we ran for district attorney. She ran for district attorney the first time. And people didn't know who she was. They had never seen anybody who looked like her before in the job that she was running for. They wondered, what were her qualifications? They wondered, was she ready? Was she tough enough to be district attorney? Those kinds of questions have always been in every election. And what has always made the difference is people like you, people like Barry, people like Elaine, people like Shar, who see something in her. They meet her, they talk to her, they feel her, and they know she's going to fight for them. When you get out there and you have those conversations and you tell people why you're taking time out of your busy schedule to show up, when you are confident and excited, that is infectious. And that is an invitation for people to be a part of what we're for and where we are going. Because we are only going forward. We are not going back. We are not going back. And so we now have 3 days. We have 3 days left to election day. This has been the fastest presidential election in history. And the upside of 3 days is we are only asking you to give us all your time for 3 days. Just for 3 days. We're only asking for all your time for the next 3 days. The other side of 3 days is, y'all, we only have 3 days. We only have 3 days to close this deal. And the thing that we must do in these next 3 days, yes, get out and vote, do your early vote. But the thing that we must do in these next 3 days is make sure that people have been registered and are voting in numbers that are so overwhelming that we leave absolutely no doubt about where this country stands. That is the most important thing that we can do over these next 3 days. And this is what I can tell you. We can do this. We can do this. We will do this. If people keep showing up for the next 3 days and doing the work, I tell you, that is how we will protect our freedoms. That is how we will usher in this brighter future that Kamala is talking about, in which everyone can see themselves and in which she wants everyone to be able to fulfill their God-given potential. And it is absolutely how we will elect my sister, Kamala Harris, the next president of the United States. So I thank you all for showing up today, all of you. But I do have to say, I was very delighted when I found out about someone who was going to show up today with me. And that is our extraordinary, just wonderful, smart, full of integrity, hardworking, just beautiful spirit, beautiful human, our governor of Maryland, Wes Moore.
We love you. We love you. Thank you so much.
What's going on, Flint? How y'all doing? Can we first give it up for the future first sister of the United States of America? I love the sound of that. That's our first sister, man. That's our first sister right there. She's so extraordinary. She is so extraordinary. And let me tell you something. She talks about how the vice president has just been nonstop. Let's be clear. She has been nonstop right alongside of her. And so, Maya, we love you. We are grateful for you. We will run through walls for you. And we cannot wait to celebrate in January when your sister becomes the next president of the United States of America. It's going to be a good day in the country, y'all. It's going to be a good day. And first, can I also say to Representative Neely and Mayor Neely, God bless y'all. It is wonderful to be here in y'all city. It is wonderful to be back here in Michigan. And I tell you, this is what victory feels like. This is what victory feels like, because it requires all of us. It requires each and every one of us to do our part. And I'm so happy to be back in Michigan. I almost lost count the amount of times being in Michigan over these past 3 months. But there's a reason why. And a lot of people say, but hold on, you're the governor of Maryland. And I got breaking news for y'all. Maryland is going to vote for Kamala Harris. You can go ahead and chalk up right now. We're going to make sure our electoral votes are going blue to make sure Kamala Harris becomes the next president of the United States. But so then a lot of people say, so why are you out here? And my answer is simple. It's because I'm coming with a very humble ask. We need you all to be our proxy. We need you to be our voice. Because it is not lost on any of us that this election will run through Michigan. Who is the next president of the United States will run through Michigan. So I'm coming here with a very humble ask. I need you to be our voice. Every door that you knock on, every phone call that you make, every leaflet that you hand out, I need you to go out there and remember us. Because we're behind you. And we need you in this moment. Because we know what's on the line. We know that we have a chance to elect a president who actually believes in creating an economy that works for all of us and not just some of us. We know we have a chance to elect a president who believes that it's our working families and our middle class that actually need and deserve tax relief. And that's why her plan shows that for anyone making under $400,000, we're about to get tax relief under the Harris-Walsh administration. And not someone who believes that the way you build out an economy that works for the middle class is by giving tax breaks to the billionaires. That we know we have a person who will be the next president of the United States, when then you look at her policies, she understands that we need to make sure we're supporting our veterans and supporting those who are coming back home and those who have worn the uniform and raised their hand for this country. And I tell it from a very personal point, as someone who served as a veteran, someone who served with the 82nd Airborne Division and led soldiers in combat, I do not want a commander-in-chief who looks at our veterans who have traumatic brain injuries and saying they have nothing more than headaches. That we want a president of the United States that is willing to invest in our healthcare and understands that affordable and accessible healthcare should be an American and a human right, and who's willing to invest to ensure that reproductive health and reproductive rights should be a decision between a woman and her doctor, and nobody else should have any say over that. We need a president of the United States who understands that the way you are going to build our economy that works for everybody, it means supporting our small businesses, it means ensuring that we can have procurement reform, it means making sure we can invest in childcare, and it means making sure that we can raise a federal minimum wage, because gone should be the days when you have people who are working jobs, and in some cases multiple jobs, and still living at or below a poverty line. We have a chance to get this right. And we have a chance to send a message that is going to be so loud that the ancestors who came before us will hear us loud and clear. That we understood the assignment. And that those who come after us will understand us loud and clear that we understood the assignment as well. And there's one other piece, is the reason that I'm just completely 10 toes down for the vice president to make sure she becomes the next president of the United States. It's because values matter. And ethics matter. You know, I've been the governor for the state of Maryland now for about 20 months, and there's something I've learned inside this job as a chief executive, is that many of the most important decisions that you will make, they won't be made during normal office hours. They won't be made at press conferences. They won't be made at large gatherings. Oftentimes, some of the most important decisions you're going to make will be made late at night or early in the morning with a small group of people around you. And when those decisions are made, there's a basic fundamental question that is asked of each and every person who sits inside these seats. Who do you see when you are making those decisions? Who do you value? Whose families are you thinking about? Who do you serve? And there is no question in my mind that when I think about Vice President Kamala Harris, she sees us. She sees our families. She sees our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations, and our frustrations. And she says we can build a collective society where everybody can advance and not just some of us. And how do I know that? Is because I've seen it in action. You know, I've learned in this job that when your phone rings in the middle of the night, you're never about to get good news. No one ever calls me at 3 o'clock in the morning and says, "Governor, I got great news for you." The good news waits until the morning. It's the bad news that'll wake you up in the middle of the night. And on March 26th of this year, I got one of those phone calls. When I was awoken at 2:02 in the morning, and I learned that a ship the size of 3 football fields had slammed into the Key Bridge in Baltimore, one of the most iconic bridges in our state. And I learned that we were now hours away from my state waking up and realizing that a port of Baltimore that's responsible for about 13% of our state's economy was now closed. That a port of Baltimore that's responsible for the employment of thousands of Marylanders was now shut down, and thousands of Marylanders were about to wake up and realize they no longer had a job. That we had six workers who were working on the bridge that morning, fixing potholes, who were now missing. And I remember as we were mobilizing in the middle of the night, when we had a state of emergency called, when we had our state police divers in the water saving lives, when we had aerial assets in the air, when it was nothing but chaos all around us, I remember a phone call that I will never forget. One of the earliest phone calls I got simply started with 3 words. "Gov, it's Kamala. And I want to let you know, I know you just spoke to the president, and we are going to be with you every step of the way." I can't tell you all how much that phone call meant. at a time when there is nothing but chaos all around you. Hearing her voice, hearing her words, and knowing that when she said that she'd be with us every step of the way, she meant every word of that, and she has been. The vice president, let's be clear, this is a person of her word. This is a person who means what she says, and she does what she says. And she's a person who we need to sit in this seat in this moment when we have very serious challenges that this world is facing and very serious challenges this country is facing. We need serious people who are sitting in the seat who are not thinking about themselves, but who are thinking about us. That's the vice president. And so the beautiful thing we know is this, and again, something I learned in the military, we count operations backwards. So here's what we got. We got 2 days in a wake up, y'all. We got 2 in a wake up. That's it. Anybody can do anything for 2 in a wake up. And what we're going to require from everybody is everything. Every door that you can knock on, every phone call that you can make, every yard sign you can grab, every conversation you can have. This is going to require all of us, because I'm telling you, the future is staring at us right now and asking, do we understand the assignment? Do we understand what's at stake? Do we understand that we are here not just because we are afraid of an alternative, but we are here because we are so hopeful for her vision for the future? Because her vision for the future sees us and our families and our hopes. We got 2 in a wake up, y'all. That's it. And come election day, I want us to wake up with no voices left. I want us to wake up with no skin left in our knuckles because of all the doors we've been knocking on. I want to make sure we have no yard signs that are not sitting inside of grass and sitting there ready to be deployed. I want to make sure that everybody in your life understands that we've got work to do, and we have a president, we have a future president who's ready to lead us into that next charge. And I need it for us to understand that we are going to build a country that those who came before us hope for. And we are going to build a country that those who come after us deserve. We need everything we've got right now, y'all. But when we do it, these will be some long days and some long nights, but I am telling you, joy will come in the morning, and we will see in January Kamala Harris become the next president of the United States. And we know that we got it done because we went out here and we earned it. So God bless you guys. Thank you for everything you're doing, and let's go earn this thing for 2 in a wake up and make sure that everyone hears and understands that we understood the assignment. God bless y'all, and thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Man, that's a good speech.
Oh, God bless you.
That's a pep talk.
Thank you. That's what we need.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
We're going right here, sir.
Oh, sorry. Oh, appreciate you, good brother.
Backdrop, we'll do a quick gaggle.
Okay, wonderful. Oh.
Interview, you gotta turn the music back on. You didn't get my text?
No. My phone was up here.
They're gonna do interviews over there. So yeah. So after the cameras leave. Sorry. Thank you though.
I get it. Oh, I totally get the interviews. I'm like, I forget. I see.
got you. I know.
Big smiles right here, guys.
Come on.
1, 2, 3.